During the press tour of Spider-Man Brand New Day, Tom Holland said that there's a whole plan for passing the Spider-Man mantle to another actor. And I figured out exactly what that plan is and even who the next actor might be. But for some context, we're going to talk about Brand New Day and my thoughts on it. And we're also going to talk about that post-credit scene because I have a few theories about it. This video contains spoilers, so if you haven't watched the movie yet, come back after you've watched it. Spider-Man Brand New Day is Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man movie, and he's the only actor in history to get more than 3 solo Spider-Man movies, which is super interesting because Marvel clearly sees a future in him, but I still think there are clues about who's next. When you watch the movie, you can truly feel the years of experience that he has with the character. I mean, it's been 10 years now since Civil War. He quite literally grew up as Spider-Man, and the difference between this movie and his first 3 movies is that he was actually involved in the writing of this one. Before I get into the movie, I do want to talk about the post-credit scene. If you don't remember, the post-credit scene shows the Spidey Tracker app that Ned made, and it zooms out of New York and even towards outer space to reveal that another Spider-Man appeared and some text that said Spider-Man will return. Now, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, so this is probably a teaser for Avengers Doomsday. We will most likely see Tobey Maguire come back to the MCU. I think it makes sense with all the multiverse stuff, but the more I was thinking about it, I actually think it is someone else. And no, I'm not talking about Andrew Garfield. Keep watching until the end of the video because I'm going to go into detail about who I think it's going to be and the secret plan that Tom Holland teased, but we need some crucial context first, so let's talk about Tom's movies. I think the common problem that most people had with Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that he was never as responsible as we expected Spider-Man to be. And in Homecoming, people didn't really like how much he relied on Iron Man. Like, he always had this crutch that he could rely on, and his suit wasn't even made by him, but by Tony Stark, and it even had a whole AI to talk to him and tell him what to do. I completely understand why for some people this wasn't what they were looking for in a Spider-Man movie. And to be fair to Homecoming, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think when it comes to being a teenage high school comedy connected to the MCU, it did an amazing job at that. But as a Spider-Man movie, it's not everyone's favorite. Then we had Spider-Man Far From Home, which I actually think is a bit underrated. It's really not as bad as people say it is. It's a pretty fun movie, but that's kind of about it. I think it serves its purpose as this perfect setup for No Way Home because of how Mysterio reveals Peter's identity. You can actually watch Far From Home and No Way Home back to back. It picks up right where it left off. It's like a perfect double feature. But same problem with these 2 movies. Spider-Man always has someone to rely on, like Nick Fury, which ended up actually not being him, but anyway. And in No Way Home, he relied on Tobey and Andrew. No Way Home was such a fun time though. Like, I know it's one of those movies that are not going to age that well over time. Like, I don't think No Way Home is going to be that watchable in 10 years time or more, but it was such an insane theater experience that it's like forever going to have a spot in my heart for that. But the ending of No Way Home, where he makes this sacrifice to make everybody forget who he is to protect them and bring everyone back home, sets up Brand New Day. And here we are, 10 years after Tom Holland started being Spider-Man. We have been asking for a grounded, street-level Spider-Man movie, and we finally got it. I think everybody was getting tired of the multiverse stuff, and especially for Spider-Man, we didn't want any of that anymore. And I truly think this is the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Peter deals with these new powers that are evolving because of him growing up and turning into an adult. It's kind of like spider puberty, but I actually think this is such a good analogy for where Tom Holland is at in his Spider-Man journey. The first trilogy was him in his teenage years, and now he's an adult. He's broke with no money. His girl is kissing some other dude, and he's miserable. We're so back, man. It really reminds me of the Insomniac Spider-Man games. It's great to hear that they actually played the games and were inspired by the finishing moves for the fighting in this movie. And I actually think this movie found the perfect balance between being connected to the MCU and being street level and focused on Peter Parker stuff. In this movie, we had Yelena, which they refer to as Black Widow now, so I guess that's her official title. We had the Punisher, we had Hulk, and we had Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey, which, by the way, Steve Lacy totally spoiled that one for me.
All the characters in the film you're aware of, and without spoiling anything, who is your favorite or who are you most excited to see?
You know what? Jean. I like Jean.
Okay.
She's the villain, but like, there's a reason to her madness.
Okay. Is that a spoiler?
I love his new album, and it was great to hear his song in the credits, but he's never gonna work with Marvel again, is he? Anyway, my point is, even though this movie had all of these other heroes, it never felt like it was trying to force down your throat cameos and references, or even another movie at all. Like, Jean's appearance is not like a tease for the next X-Men movie. Even if she never shows up ever again, this movie would still feel complete, which is why I think Brand New Day is going to age better than No Way Home. It feels like a proper comic book world. Like, yeah, Bruce Banner is your university professor, and you just happen to bump into the Punisher while fighting, and Jean Grey is doing her own thing and not even realizing she's like terrorizing New York. This was a great way to implement all of that. Now I want to talk about who the next Spider-Man is going to be. I think the plan is that now that Tom Holland is an adult Spider-Man, he can have this story arc of being an experienced Spider-Man, and we can introduce all these characters like Black Cat, Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn, which by the way, I think Timothée Chalamet would play a great Harry Osborn. I would love to see him and Tom on screen together. And fuck it, give him the Sinister Six. We had like a dyed version of that in No Way Home, but it doesn't really count, man. I want Peter to have history with these villains and an actual story arc that culminates in an actual Sinister Six. Maybe we can leave the Sony Morbius universe behind and forget about that and just start from scratch, man. And while building this whole new world, I think this is the time where you bring in Miles Morales. Guys, it's time. I don't think the next Spider-Man should be another Peter Parker. I think it would be perfect if we can have an adult Peter Parker and Miles Morales coexisting. You can just name Miles the ultimate Spider-Man to differentiate the two. And this is not coming from nowhere either. In Homecoming, Donald Glover plays Uncle Aaron, and he teases that he has a nephew called Miles. I actually don't know if he would be interested, but he'd be an amazing prowler. And in No Way Home, they even hint about this. Electro says to Andrew,
I just thought you was gonna be black.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
I don't apologize. There's gotta be a black Spider-Man somewhere out there.
and it doesn't even end there. In Spider-Verse, we see Donald Glover as the Prowler, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this Prowler is from the MCU. And by the way, in the post-credit scene, there is a theory that the other Spider-Man from outer space that we see is actually Miles Morales. But why in space though? Wouldn't he be in New York already? The reason he would be in space would be that he came out of the Spider-Verse universe and into the MCU. I mean, think about it. Into the Spider-Verse, and then across the Spider-Verse, and finally beyond the Spider-Verse? What if that trilogy is setting him up to be in live action? Alright, I'm going to be honest though, there are a few issues with that theory, and I don't actually believe that it's true. I think it's most likely going to be Tobey appearing in Doomsday, but I truly think that when Tom Holland said passing the mantle to another actor, he meant Miles Morales. And who exactly will play Miles Morales? I have two choices. First is Caleb McLaughlin. He just came out of Stranger Things looking for his next big thing, and Marvel clearly has a great relationship with Stranger Things because they casted Sadie Sink, and also Sean Levy has worked on Stranger Things and Marvel for years now. He definitely has what it takes to play Miles. Now my second choice is Miles Keaton. If you don't know him, he plays Sam in Sinners, and with a performance like that, I was actually shocked to find out that that was his first role ever. And you know, Sinners was made by Ryan Coogler. Ryan has a great relationship with Marvel. The Black Panther movies are amazing. And the reason why Miles Keaton would work perfectly isn't because his name is Miles, but he's actually younger than Caleb McLaughlin. He's almost 10 years younger than Tom Holland, which would be a perfect dynamic for an adult Peter and a young Miles picking up the mantle. And he even said he was interested in playing Miles Morales. So that's who I think is going to play the next Spider-Man.